Okay, so this is my first video ever, really. Actually, I did have a little cheapy camera from Amazon, a little 30-40 quid one, but the microphone was rubbish, the footage was rubbish. Well, I didn't actually have an external microphone, which made life even more difficult. But I've invested in a relatively cheap camera, gone for a Drift Ghost XL, and I've also bought the Drift Innovation external camera, the external microphone as well, which I've tucked into my helmet as best I could. I've got no idea what the footage is actually like, because this is the first video. Okay, so it is quite easy to get to the buttons, but I've just literally switched over from my sub-vertical gloves, which have a lot more dexterity in them, to these ones, because it's not actually that warm today. It's 15 degrees, 15 and a half. It's just skyrocketed. But maybe I should have just stuck to the cold to give a smoother result on the camera. I'm not quite sure what this lorry is sat out on the outside, to be honest. So nothing too spectacular today. I'm literally just going to ride down to a cafe called Loomies. I'm sure lots of people know what that is. And just kind of have a bit of a play around with the camera, really. Some short clips, some slightly longer clips. A bit of a monologue to try and pick up the audio as best as possible. I have got a buff that's up and around my mouth as well, so that might affect some of the quality. I don't know. I'm kind of new to all of this, really. I haven't done any vlogs or blogs or anything. I've got a little Instagram account, ADV Duck, and it's literally just a few snaps here and there of when I go out on my bike. So it's nothing kind of too outrageous. I've got a lot of things that I want to do on motorbikes, but time is always an issue. I know I read some of these articles and blogs and stuff, and people say if you want to do something, you'll always be able to find the time. And while I don't inherently disagree with that, having a full-time job and 3 children, that is easier said than done. I've got a very supportive wife that enables me to go out on the bike as much as possible, but it's those longer kind of trips away that are sitting in the reserve bank. Done a couple of trips, but nothing more than a kind of night or two, really. And one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to see Scotland. I think that in a way it's you know, a lot of people tour Europe, and that's definitely something I want to do, but it's a much bigger feat to do that. And actually I think that it's a bit ignorant to forsake what is essentially local in the grand scheme of things, to go abroad when actually I've watched a number of kind of NC 500 video logs, and Scotland has a lot of beautiful scenery, and it's, you know, the grand scheme of things, you could get up there and get some of it seen in a few days. So I think that's going to be one of my goals in the not too distant future. Oh, the temperature's plummeting. It's gone down to 15 degrees now. It's positively freezing. It's actually not too bad in all this stuff. I've still got my my jeans on, but I've got a base layer on underneath just to kind of take away some of that wind that gets through. Not wind coming out of me, I have to add. So I guess, being brutally honest, I don't really know kind of what to talk about. I'm finding my feet a little bit with all this. I'm not really sure what I want to get out of it. Not really sure what the people want. Give the people what they want. I suppose you need to have people first before you can kind of try and figure out what the people want. I think I've got a YouTube channel that I set up, and then I realised that my cameras were rubbish, and so it's sat there with like no videos on there. I haven't got any editing software, only what comes standard with Windows 11. Oh, that was a nightmare as well. So I really don't know, like I said, what I want to get out of this. And so, you know, in terms of startup costs, I didn't want to spend a small fortune on cameras and laptops and editing suites and all this kind of stuff, because, you know, what if I don't like it? What if actually it's not for me to try and do a video log? I think editing is probably quite difficult. I'm not naive to think it would be really easy to get decent kind of transitions, if that's even the correct word. So I've got a YouTube channel that's just sitting there with no videos on it, so this will probably be the first one, if I can edit it and put it into some sort of file or whatever. Singular, that's a bit of a bad road position. Single video. Who knows, maybe my first few videos will just be a load of bits and pieces spliced together with very little editing flurry, as they say. Who says that? I don't know who says that. Just making stuff up now. Desperately trying to sort this the entire neck warmer has worked its way into my mouth, and I can't get rid of it. So if you hear a lot of weird noise, the chowing, that's what I sound like. I sound like I'm partially gagged. There's a joke there somewhere, I'm sure. Let's see if we can grab a little whereby, and we'll pull over and have a little pull of the cloth out of my mouth. So this is actually a route I do quite a lot when I've only got kind of a limited time. Oh, that would have done. To go out for a little blast, really. I only got a few hours today. And so I thought I'll do something close to where I live. And that will hopefully mean I can concentrate on talking a load of rubbish, filling up the void of sound. That's assuming that the microphone's even working and picking it up with where I put it. Embarrassing, isn't it? My first video, all you can hear is so who's this guy? What is on about? And you are correct. I have not got a clue what I'm doing when it comes to cameras and vlogging and all that kind of fun stuff. On the agenda now, by the looks of things. I think it was the right idea to put my gloves on. They are a lovely temperature, not hot at all. Not cold, which is a wonderful thing. The summer gloves, which have a lot of like netting between the fingers, so you can get a little chilly, even with these hand guards on. The other thing that you get on this that you don't get on the summer ones is the little wiper blade. These are a good buy actually. Hell they are. I don't know what model or whatever they are, but they were 60 quid, reduced, I can't remember what from, but over 100 quid. So that was a decent find really. I think I actually bought them from Loomies, and they've got a little shop out the back. That's open a couple of days a week or whatever. I think I actually bought them from in there. I can't remember. I cannot remember where I bought them from. That's another thing, isn't it? Gear is a bit of a minefield really. What you spend your money on, what the best stuff is, what the worst stuff is, trying to find that compromise between kind of good quality and something that won't break the bank. You spend a small fortune on gear. I think it's the right thing to do to make sure you're covered. There's personal preference. I know there's people out there that ride in t-shirts and flip-flops and whatever else. Personally, I choose to ride in gear all the time. But then again, I haven't ridden, other than the little heat wave we had in the UK, I haven't ridden in temperatures consistently that are like, you know, 35, 40 degrees. Maybe I'll change my tune then, who knows. This is pretty good, to be fair, this jacket. It's pretty versatile. It's an Oxford Adventure, a few £100. Definitely not the most expensive jackets you can buy, and equally not the cheapest either, but pretty good. It's a laminate, so it's waterproof. Although the channel down the front, it's got like a curved lip that goes back on itself, and when you put it on in the rain, or if it's in order to be waterproof, you've got to make sure that that channel, the integrity of that channel, is that shape all the way down. Otherwise you get water ingress, and then you get like a, starts off as a small spot on your chest or your stomach, and it just grows of water seeping in, which is really annoying because then it's got nowhere to get out either, so it just kind of works its way into every nook and cranny of your body. Luckily my tummy is more round, so it runs off quite nicely. But yeah, it's a good bike. It came with the trousers as well, and when you've got the liners in, the trousers and the jacket, it's actually quite warm, to be fair. Just a t-shirt and a light jumper underneath, and I've ridden in -4 with just this jacket. No boxers, no trousers, nothing, just a jacket. But yeah, so with it all on, it's actually plenty warm enough. And in the summer, it's got vents and holes and zips and bits and pieces that you can undo. I haven't got the liner in today. It's 15 degrees, so it's plenty with just the jacket, and I've got a little long sleeve t-shirt type thing underneath, and that seems to do the trick. I think actually there's a little place on the right here which I'm going to pull into and try and sort out this thing, because no doubt it's probably having an effect. Oh, always forget that one. There's a big old bump in the road. Testing your tyres and your suspension. So you might not have even heard what my voice normally sounds like with this covering me. There you go, have a look behind. There we go, we're alright. We'll get in here. Oh, there we go. Have a look. Okay, let's see. See if I can do it with just one. Whoa. I think that's better. Pull it down. And there you go. That's nice and revealing. Oh, so you've got that weird thing where when you take it off, all of a sudden your mouth is really cold because it's been super warm from your breath. How many of you are thinking, what the hell happened to his voice? Didn't realise he was Scottish. Well, I'm not. I like to mess around with accents sometimes, and actually if I do end up doing more and more videos, you'll probably hear more and more of that. I tend to talk to myself when I'm on the motorbike, so it makes sense, I suppose, that some of it would be caught on camera, talking about absolutely nothing, everything and nothing all at the same time. He's letting us go. Thank you very much, sir. So I didn't really do anything about the bike, did I? I suppose I'm going to tell you about the bike. This is a Triumph Generation 3 Tiger 1200 XRX. I'll show you around it in a bit more detail later on. Just bought it in 2020. Got an absolute bargain on it actually, but at least I think I did. And that's kind of all that matters really, as long as you walk away feeling like you got a good deal and happy with the deal, then that's kind of all that matters. Who knows, maybe they ripped me off, but good for them if they did. But no, I bought it from Premier Bikes in Oxford, or kind of Abingdon, Didcotty kind of area. It's a Triumph dealership and a KTM dealership, a guy called Steve. And I wanted to get an adventure bike, so like lots of people, I'm sure, did a bit of research, did a bit of YouTubing, looking at reviews, and one of the things I did do actually was seek out negative reviews, so trying to be balanced with it, because there's no point in just watching people say it's the best bike, whatever bike you're thinking of buying. There's no point watching a bunch of videos about people talking about that bike, going, oh, this is the best bike in the world, it's fantastic, there's nothing wrong with it, and it's great, and you go, oh wow, that's the one then, that's the one for me, you go and buy it, and then for what you're using it for, there's a fundamental flaw, and you're like, oh, okay, well, now I'm stuck with that bike. And actually I didn't want a bike this big. I was looking at getting the mid-size, I think is what they call it, a mid-size adventure bike. So I was looking at the Tiger 800, the Tiger 900, because at the time that had very recently come out, and F800 GS BMW, Suzuki has an offering of the V-Strom, and well, you know the rest, Tenerés, the Africa Twins, blah blah blah. And I was pretty sold on the Tiger 900. Excuse me. I was pretty sold on that. I really liked kind of the reviews of it. Obviously it was very difficult to find some negative ones. I did manage to, but it was quite difficult to still closed. We interrupt this broadcast to, is it No Through Road? Shoot, it's still closed. I can't even remember. It's down here somewhere. Yeah, so I was pretty sold on the Triumph, and actually I really liked the KTM, but the reviews were fantastic for it, for off-road capability. It was like, oh, this thing's amazing, it'll eat up anything, it's fantastic, you can't go wrong, this is the best bike in the world. And then when they were talking about the on-road portion of like the review, how they set it up, they weren't as kind of positive about it. It was more like, you know, it's an off-road machine where the on-road capability was an afterthought. And I was honest with myself, and I thought, well, listen, I'm not going to be, you know, out in the middle of nowhere on a regular basis in streams and in mud and on rocky roads and all that kind of stuff. That's not the type of riding I'm likely going to be doing in the next couple of years. So I ruled that out, and I looked at the Tiger 900, and by the time I priced it up, having panniers and stuff so you can go touring, it was I think it was about £15,000, which is a huge amount of money. And there were no deals to be had. Well, certainly not that I could find kind of locally, because it's a brand new bike. You know, you don't really need to do deals on a brand new machine that's new to market. So I was a bit kind of reluctant, and I didn't even really look at the big bikes because they're so heavy, and I hadn't ridden adventure bikes before, and so I was like, well, okay, well, you know, I'll go and test ride one, and you know, see if I kind of fall in love with it, and we'll figure it out. So I went to, I reached out to, I think it's this one. I am rubbish at multitasking. My brain just went, ooh, yes. So I reached out to Premier Bikes in Oxford and basically said, what? No through road still? This could be interesting because I've only got 30 miles of range in the tank as well. So I reached out to Premier Bikes, said, look, I want to come down, I want to try a 900. They were very accommodating. When I got there, they said, have you thought about 1200? I said, well, no, not really, it's too heavy and all this kind of stuff. So I was chatting with the guy, got some indicative figures together, and as I say, if memory serves, it was about 14 and a half, between like kind of 14 and a half and £15,000 for a brand new Tiger 900 with the panniers and bits and pieces, a couple of bits and pieces. That's a lot of dosh. And then he said, so they had these, so the Tiger 1200, the new one, which is out now, the release date was pushed back. So basically what happened was Premier Bikes had loads of these that I'm on now, all in white. This is an XRX, which is the middle one, I think. XRT is the top of the range, the XR is the entry level one. Boffin's out there, feel free to correct me. And he said, have you thought about this? And I said, no, not really, because it's not really what I want. It's a massive bike. You know, not ridden one before. I think it's this one. Oh, there's a car there. Probably should look what I'm doing. But he said, well, look, why don't you go out for a ride on one and see how you feel. So like, you know, why not? It is what it is. It's worth having a go. At the end of the day, if nothing else, I get to ride another motorbike for 20 minutes, half an hour. And if you like riding motorbikes, you're kind of very rarely going to say no to that. And I went out on it and I was sold immediately. I loved it. It is a heavy bike. It took me a little while to get used to it at slow speeds. When you're actually going along, it's not a concern. It's those kind of slow speeds, manoeuvring speeds, where you have to get used to it. But I loved it, and they were selling them because, from what I could gather, he was saying that they had loads of them left, but because COVID was in place, obviously lots of people weren't buying stuff or going out and all this kind of stuff, and so they hadn't sold as many as they needed to prior to obviously a load of the new ones coming into their showroom. And so I bought this brand new for £12,500, and it had all the aluminium panniers and the top box. It's the Expedition pack, I think it's called. Had all that came with it. Lower engine bars. I put the upper engine bars on. There's a funny story about that. And I think I paid an extra couple of £100 for the fog lamps or the auxiliary lamps at the front or whatever they're called. And that was purely for aesthetic. I don't mind admitting it. I think that whole feel of being on an adventure bike with multiple lights on the front, I don't think I've ever really used them for their intended purpose. I'm not really sure what their intended purpose is. I'm not sure I've gone the right way either. If I've gone the right way, this should just drop out back onto the 272, and there should be a rather large roadblock to our left, but I don't know if I've done it correctly. We shall see. So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty decent saving, you know, nearly £3,000 worth of a saving for you know, quote unquote better bike, or a bigger bike at the very least. We have done it correctly. Here we go. So we're going to go right here. Looks very much like you can go through. Interesting. So yeah, so I did the deal with a guy called Steve. good guy. I traded in a Vulcan, which is a really cool bike. Oh. And then I had this guy, and I've had it now for, got it in December 2020, so coming up for 2 years. In a few months it'll be 2 years. I've done about 12,000 miles on it. A lot of that was kind of commuting and little trips and just getting out on it as much as possible. And yeah, I love it. Like, I really do. It's grown on me a lot. It's a fantastic bike. Shaft drive, so there's no chain messing around or anything like that. Nothing at all. I did nod back. Obviously busy. How dare you! Busy! Who are you? I don't know who you are. I will not say hello. So yeah, so anyway, so I bought the bike, and I didn't have these on. I don't know if you can actually see the top, like a witch. The upper crash bars. I bought them from a company called Heed. I ordered them. They were on back order only for a week, so I was like, oh, okay, well, no bother. You know, I took delivery of the bike when I got it. It was great. Had to go around on it for a few days. Really enjoying the bike. Everything was fantastic. Putting it away in the garage one day, I put the side stand out. Spoiler alert, I didn't put the side stand out. I thought I had, but evidently I did not. And the bike just toppled over. I literally just fully committed to, like, oh cool, you know, let's put it on its side stand. Side stand just folded back in on itself. I tried to hold it for a split second, but it's, you know, I don't want to shred my back trying to hold up 250, 60 kilos or whatever it is. At an awkward position, so I let it go. It threw me against the wall. I lost the indicator at the front there. The wing mirror spun around but was undamaged. And there's a bit of damage to the plastic bits on the side here with the Triumph logo. Which sidebar Triumph? Where do you get off charging what you charge for those? It was hundreds and hundreds of pounds to try and replace it. And so in the end, I didn't. I thought, well, you know, it's a battle scar. So what? It is what it is. This motorbike is for using, so I'm happy with it. I did have to buy an indicator. That was also £100 from Triumph. Thanks very much for that. And then the very next day, in the post, the bars came up, and I was pretty annoyed, but kind of laughed because, you know, had I had them on there, I'm sure they would have done what they're designed to do, and there'd be no damage. Oh, I also, down the fall tunnel, you've got one of the cowlings down the bottom there that had cracked, and again, I think it was, if memory serves, it was £16.8 million to order one from Triumph. So I took it off. I'm not very mechanically minded, by the way. I'm really not. But I took it off and had a look at it, and I thought, oh, do you know what? That's kind of done like a bit of a zigzag crack, but hasn't lost any parts of it. And so I just lashed a load of super glue in it, and it's been fine ever since. I've jet washed it, knocked it, whatever, you know, and it's been fine. So far so good, which is all right. So yeah. I just like that you can do loads of miles on this bike and kind of not really get uncomfortable at all. I've done 300 miles in a day on multiple occasions, and when you get off at the end of a long day's ride and you kind of bending your body over in lots of weird and wonderful positions like a pretzel, making lots of funny noises. Because you're all eight, you don't get any of that. I just kind of get off the bike and job's done really. You just feel comfortable. And I think that's a testament to bikes in this category. They are brilliantly designed to do lots of things. And actually I've been off-road on it now a few times. Went to the ABR festival this year. Up until the ABR festival, the only kind of off-roading I had done is a grass laid to lawn field to get to my camping pitch and stuff like that. So for the hardened off-roaders among you, it's probably sacrilege to even attempt to call that off-roading, but by the literal definition, that is the off-roading that I had done prior to going to... Hello? No light on? I didn't even see you. Prior to going to ABR Festival. And I went to ABR Festival and they had the track, and I thought, the bike's insured, it is what it is, I'm just going to take the bike round it. It's got road tyres on it, the ones that it came with, well, not the very same ones, but the same brand that it came with, which are Metzler Torrance Next or something, which seems to be fine. A huge topic of debate is tyres, mad. And I thrashed it round in off-road mode and had an absolute ball. And then since then I've kind of, if I see a byway, I'm like, oh, I'll have a little go down that, see what we can see. What is the worst that can happen? Let's get some fuel, because I am a desperado for fuel. So much roadworks going on. I don't know why. It's always roadworks. That woman in there is going absolutely mental at her husband, gyrating up and down, shouting, "Just get to a pump! Just do it, goddamn you!" Right, so we are literally just around the corner. It's a bit much actually. Put my gloves on, it's literally there. But if they fall off, then you'll be in trouble. So, lack of a better option, this pump literally only had Ultimate in it. No, she's waiting for me. Okay, we're gonna go. There we are. Well, there's not many people in today. Very quiet. That looks like a police officer. He has epaulets on.